Hello, welcome to Craig Loves to Crochet. I have designed this gorgeous little heart. I fell in love with a stitch quite a while ago actually, but I've never had a project that I could use it. It's the butterfly stitch or the angel stitch, and I thought what better project to use such a wonderful stitch than a project of a heart for Valentine's Day or for a lovely gift for someone. I've embellished it with a lovely ribbon. It's quite simple once you get going really, and I have a free pattern. You'll have to excuse me, I think I'm losing my voice. And I've made a lovely beautiful crocheted border around, quite a simple crocheted border, but I think it's just perfect for this project. So without further ado, let's get started on this gorgeous heart. So this is my pattern, and this is for the Sweetheart coaster. So if I scroll down, we'll have a look and see what materials we need. Whoops, a wee bit too far there. Let's go back up again. Right, so for this pattern, for these hearts, we'll need a 4mm crochet hook. That's in UK terms. In US, it'll be a size G or a 6. Scissors, a yarn needle, some ribbon. I've put the amount that you'll need. It's 83 centimeters or 32.5 inches. The yarn that I'm using is 100% cotton. It's a double knit or light worsted weight in the US term. I love the cotton for this. You can use anything you want really, but the measurements that I have is 11 centimeters to 10 centimeters. So I guess if you're using a double knit, but if you want to go up a size, you can go up a hook or down even if you wanted to. Okay, and the amount of yarn that you'll need is 19 meters of yarn for the heart and 4 meters for the border. Okay, so let's get started then. Okay, so let's start. Exciting part. Right, for the first stage we're going to make an adjustable ring. I have a tutorial down below, a link to that if you need a more detailed tutorial, but many people who watch my tutorials do often start with a magic ring or adjustable ring. So here we go. And what we're going to do into this ring, so I've made my adjustable ring, I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to do 13 half double crochets, or in UK terms that would be a half treble. So I'm going to do 13 of those into my ring. So the way we do that is we pick up our yarn, put our hook through our loop, through our ring. What's that on there? I'm not sure. So we pick up our yarn again and pull it through. So we have 3 stitches on our hook and we pull it all the way through. So that's 1. Pick up our yarn, hook through the loop, pick up our yarn and pull through, 3 stitches, pick up our yarn and pull the way through. So we're going to do 11 more of those until we've got 13. So I'll see you at the end, and then once we've done our 13 half double crochets, I'll show you how to finish off, and then we can get set with our first round. Okay then. Okay, so I have my 13 half double crochets or half trebles on my made into my ring. So I'm just going to double check because we don't want to start the second round and then find that we haven't got enough stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then there's my 13 stitch there. Right, okay, and it's in the 13 one that we're going to slip into. So the way we do that is that we go into the top. I'm going to zoom in a wee bit just so that you can see it. Make sure I'm on camera. That would be useful. Okay, so this is our first stitch here. The first stitch that we made, the first half double crochet that we made into our ring, and that's what we're going to be slipping our stitch into. So what we do is we put our hook into that stitch, we pick up our yarn, we pull it through, and we pull it all the way through the next stitch. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to pull this out a wee bit because I want to tighten up my ring now. Nice and tight. I'm going to zoom out a wee bit so you can see what I'm doing a bit more clearly. Okay, so that's our first round done. Let me my yarn back into focus again. Okay, and we need to chain 1. Now then, the next round we're going to be doing an increase of butterfly stitch. We're going to be doing our butterfly stitch now, and we're going to increase because we need to make our ring bigger, and then we can start building onto our heart. So second round is where we're going to be doing our butterfly stitch, but on this round we're going to be doing the increased butterfly stitch. So into the space where you have just slip stitched, so into this stitch here where you've just slip stitched, we're going to do and make our first butterfly stitch. And the way we do that is with a sequence of stitches. So the first thing we need to do is we need to place our hook into the stitch. We need to pick up our yarn and we need to pull our yarn through that stitch. So now we have 2 loops on the hook. We need to pick up our yarn and we need to pull that yarn through the first stitch. So basically we're slip stitching into the first stitch on the hook. Now what we need to do to finish our full butterfly stitch is to put our hook back into the same stitch, pick up our yarn again and pull it through. So now we have 3 stitches on the hook, and we need to pick up our yarn, and basically we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to pull it through the first 2 and then the second 2, and then to finish off our butterfly stitch we have to chain 1. Now that in essence is the butterfly stitch, but we're going to increase our butterfly stitch in this row, in this round. So what we need to do is we need to start off our butterfly stitch in exactly the same place that we've just, oops a daisy, we're off camera again, in exactly the same place as I've just made my butterfly stitch here. So we're going to be starting off in this stitch here, and we're going to be finishing it off in our second stitch here. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to do a tutorial just for the increase, and I'm going to put the link down below in the description box. So let's start. So the same as we did the last time, so but into the same stitch. So in the same stitch that we just created the butterfly stitch, we're going to put our hook through and pick up the yarn. We have 2 stitches on our hook. We're going to pick up the yarn and we're going to pull it through the first stitch. Now what we're going to do is, instead of putting our hook back into that same stitch, we're going to put it into the next stitch, and we're going to finish off our butterfly stitch now into the second stitch. So we're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull it through. So we have 3 stitches on the hook. Pick up our yarn and again pulling through 2 and then pulling through 2, and as we have to always do, we have to chain 1 because that's part of the stitch. So now we've increased our butterfly stitch. So we're going to do that all the way round. So let's do it again together. So we're going to put our hook into exactly the same stitch that we've just finished off with there. So we're going to pick up our yarn and pick up 2 loops, pick up our yarn and pull through 1. We're going to then put our hook into the next stitch along to finish off our butterfly stitch. And this is an increased butterfly stitch. Pick up our yarn and pull through, have 3 on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull through the first 2 stitches, pull through the next 2 and then chain 1 to finish off our butterfly stitch. Let's do it again together. So we need to put our hook into the same stitch that we've just worked in, pick up our yarn and pull it through, pick up our yarn and pull through the first stitch, put our hook into the next stitch along, pick up our yarn and pull it through, got 3 stitches on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, and then to finish off we need to chain, so that's part of the stitch. Should we do one more together and then we can finish off the row? Okay, so in the same stitch we need to put our hook in, pick up our yarn and pull through, 2 stitches on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull through, put our hook into the next stitch, pick up our yarn and pull it through 3 stitches on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull through the first 2, pick up our yarn and pull through the second 2, and then a chain stitch to finish off. Okay, so this is our increased butterfly stitch. I'm going to continue working all the way around here until we get to the end, and I'll show you what we need to do when we get to the end. So I'll see you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming to the end now. So I'm going to do my last butterfly stitch. So I'm going to start it off same as we have been doing, pulling through into my next stitch here, the last one here, pulling through 3 loops on the hook, through 2, through 2. Now then, this last stitch here I'm not going to chain. And what I'm going to do to finish off is I'm going to slip stitch into the first part of my butterfly stitch. So let me zoom in a wee bit more. Sorry, just to check. Okay, so we have our butterfly stitch is made up of 2 stitches. So if you have a look, here we are. So each butterfly stitch is made up of 2 stitches. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're going to, in our first butterfly stitch here, we have the first part, and in here is the second part. So we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch here, and we're going to, oh, let me get hold of my end rather than the end that I haven't crocheted over. So we're going to pull through and then just pull through, and that is it. Right, so now I'll see you in round 3. Okay, so we're going to start on our round 3. Now before we do, what I would like to do is I'd like to show you the composition of the stitch, because it's important, because we're going to be going into each wing for the first 3 stitches. So we're going to be going into each wing of the butterfly stitch, of the angel stitch. So let me just zoom in a wee bit, and I want to show you. So if we have a wee look, we can see that each of the butterfly stitches, you remember I said to you it's got 2 stitches, 1, 2, 1, 2 here. Now if you have a wee look here, we can see the little butterfly wings. So this is one wing here. We have it separated here, and then there's another one here. So when I say that we need to go into each wing, I mean that we need to complete a butterfly stitch in this part here. So let me put my hook through the other way. So in this bit here, so that's the first part, and then you see this piece of yarn here. We need to go the other side of that and do our other stitch in here, and so on. So we'll go along and we'll do it in this bit and this bit. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So to start, let me just zoom out a wee bit, otherwise you'll be way too close. Okay, so we need to chain 1 to start off with, and we're going to butterfly stitch into each wing 6 times. So each the wings. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. So let's do it together. So what we need to do is our hook in, pick up our yarn and pull through, pick up our yarn, pull through the first loop, put our hook back in to that part of the wing, pick up our yarn again, and we're going to do a full butterfly stitch in this wing, pick up our yarn and pull it through the first 2, pick up our yarn and pull it through the second 2. Okay, after every butterfly stitch we always chain 1, and we're going to do exactly the same into the next part, into the next wing. So we're going to put our hook into the second part of the wing that I showed you. So we're going to pick up our yarn and pull through, pick up our yarn and pull it through the first loop, put our hook back into the second part of the stitch and pick up our yarn again, pick up our yarn and pull through the first 2, pick up our yarn and pull through the second 2, and then after the stitch we need to, yes, chain 1. Okay, so let me have a wee look. So what we've done is effectively we've done, oopsie, sorry, clumsy clot. So what we've done is we've done our butterfly stitch in the first part of the wing, the previous butterfly stitch, and the second part, and we're going to do that 6 times. So that's the first time, so we're going to do, that's 1, we're going to do 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I'm going to do it again with you, and then I'm going to continue until we get to the 7th stitch. So let's do it again together. So we're going to put our hook into the first wing. We're going to pick our yarn up and pull it through, pick our yarn up and pull through the first stitch. Then we're going to put our hook back in, picking our yarn up and pull through, pick our yarn up and pull through the first 2, pick our yarn up and pull through the second 2, and then chain 1. It's fantastic learning a new stitch, isn't it? I absolutely love it. Love learning new stitches. Okay, so we'll finish this off. We're going to do this second part, in our second wing. So hook through, picking our yarn up, pick our yarn up and pull through the first stitch, hook back in to that second part, second wing, pick our yarn up, so we've got 3 stitches on our hook, pick our yarn up and pull through the first 2, yarn up through the second 2 and chain 1. So now we've got two sets. So 1, 2. Now we're going to do this 3, 4, 5, 6 until we get to the 6th stitch, and then I'll catch you up. So another 4 times. So I'll catch up when we've finished doing our 6th butterfly stitch set. Okay, so I finished my 6 lots of 2 butterfly stitches. So we should have 24 stitches. So let's have a wee look. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Superb previous stitches. And I've chained 1 at the end here. Now what we're going to do in our 7th stitch in each wing is we're going to do what we call an extended butterfly stitch, and that's to form the pointy bit of our heart. So let me show you a wee bit. So it's this bit here. So we're going to be doing this bit. So we've gone all the way around here, and we're just going to use an extended stitch just to start and create a bit of definition in our heart. So we'll pop that away. Okay, so the way we do that, fairly similar to the butterfly stitch. It's just that we're going to elongate it a little bit. So what we need to do is we need to, instead of going straight into the stitch, into the first wing, what we need to do is we need to pick up our yarn, and we need to put our hook into the first part of our stitch, the first wing. We need to pick up our yarn and pull it through. So now we have 3 stitches on our hook instead of the 2 that we normally have. We need to pick up our yarn and pull through the first stitch. Then we need to put our hook back in to the first part of the wing, pick up our yarn again, so we have 4 stitches on our hook, pick up our yarn and pull through the first 2, through the second 2, through the third 2, and we've made an extended butterfly stitch. Now we're not going to chain after this butterfly stitch. What we're going to do is we're going to pick up our yarn again, and we're going to go into the second part of our butterfly stitch, the second wing from the previous round. We're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull it through. So we have 3 stitches on our hook. We just pull my yarn out a little bit. Then we're going to pick up our yarn, pull it through the first stitch, put our hook back into the second wing and pull up another loop. So we have 4 stitches on our hook, 4 loops on our hook, pick up our yarn and pull through the first 2, pull through the second 2, pull through the third 2, and then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. And that's the end of our extended butterfly stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to continue doing our basic butterfly stitch, but we're not going to pick up our loop. So again, we're just going to continue in the next stitches, in the next 5 stitches, doing just what we've done before. So we're going to put our hook into the first part of the wing, picking up our loop, picking up our yarn and pulling through the first one, hook back in, picking up our yarn, pulling through, pick up our yarn, pull through 2, and then pull through 2, and chain 1. And we're going to do that into each part of the wing for 5 times, and then I'll show you when we get nearer to the end what we're going to do. Okay, so we've continued all the way around, and we've done our basic butterfly stitch into each wing 5 times, and we've chained 1, or we should have chained 1, and in the last stitch we're going to just do 1 butterfly stitch. I'm going to show you where it needs to go. Okay, so let me pull this out a wee bit. So we're just going to go into this space here, and we're just going to do our very last stitch in there. So hook in, pulling up with 2 on, slightly too loose, right. Pulling through 1, hook in, 1, 2. Now we don't need to chain at the end of this stitch, and what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the first part of the previous butterfly stitch. So if you remember, it's got 2 stitches, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're going to go into this stitch here. Let me go the other way, this stitch here. So we'll get our yarn, hook in, yarn over, pull through, and then just pull that straight the way through. There, and that's the end of round 3. So let's zoom out a wee bit. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of definition here in our, just a wee bit. Oops, you can see it there. So we've got our little, we're starting to get there, aren't we? Okay, so let's start on round 4. Okay, so we're on round 4 now. So what we need to do is we need to, first of all, to chain 2. So 1, 2. And then in each wing, what we're going to do is we're going to do an extending butterfly stitch. So we've just done that in the previous round, but we're going to do that over the next 4 stitches. So in the next, each wing of the next 4 butterfly stitches. So let's do it again together. So to do the extended butterfly stitch, if we remember, we need to pick up our yarn first of all, and we need to put our hook into the first part of our wing. We need to pick up our yarn and pull it through. So we have 3 stitches on our hook, and pick up our yarn and pull through the first stitch. We put our hook back in to that first part of the wing and pull through another loop. So we have 4 on the hook. Pick up our yarn and pull through 2. Pick up our yarn, pull through 2. Pick up our yarn and pull through 2, and chain 1. And we're going to do that in the next wing. So through 1, hook back in again, pick up our yarn, 2, 2, 2, chain. Okay, so what we're going to do, so that's 1, so we've done it one set of 2. So we're going to do it into the both parts of the wings for this stitch, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you need to do it another 3 times. So I'm going to catch up with you when we finish doing that. Okay, so we've done our 4 sets of extended butterfly stitch. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we've got 8 stitches in total along here, 8, each comprising of 2 stitches each, so 16 in total. Right, now what we need to do, we need to chain 1 to finish our butterfly stitch with that one, so I forgot to do that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work into the next 7 parts of our butterfly stitch. We're going to be using the wings again, so in each wing, but we're going to be doing a butterfly stitch, 1 butterfly stitch over each wing. So I'm going to do our basic butterfly stitch, but we're going to do it like this. So we're going to pick up our yarn and pull it through, pick up our yarn and pull through, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the second part of our wing this time and finish our stitch. So when we did our, I think it was row 2, we had to go into the second stitch to finish off, we're just going to do it in the wings. So picking up our yarn, pull through the 2, pull through 2 and chain 1. So 1 butterfly stitch in using the both wings. So we'll do it again together. So that's 1 stitch. So we're going to go into the first part of our wing here. So hook in, pulling up through the first part of our stitch and slip stitching into the first stitch. Then we're going to put a hook into the second part of the butterfly stitch, picking up our yarn and pulling through 2 stitches, pulling through 2 stitches and then chaining 1. Let's do it again. So that's 2. So we'll put our hook into the first part of the butterfly wing and picking up our yarn and pulling it through, pick up our yarn and pull through the first stitch. Then we're going to put a hook into the second part of the butterfly stitch wing, pulling up so you've got 3 stitches, pick up, pull through 1, set of 2, pull through 2 and then chain 1. Okay, so that's 3. So we've done 1, 2, 3. So we need another 4 stitches and then we're going to get down to this pointy bit here and I'll show you how we're going to shape a little bit more. So another 4 in the same way that we've done and I'll catch up with you at the bottom. Okay then, so I've completed 6. I'm going to do the last one, which is the 7th. So just a basic butterfly stitch over the 2 wings. So I'm just going to finish that off. On camera would help. And chain 1. Okay. So we're really starting to make a shape here, aren't we? So we have our lovely sort of rounded bit here for our heart and we're coming down and we're going to extend this little bit here. It took me ages and ages to get this right. I'm so pleased to be sharing it with you now. Okay, so what we need to do now is in this space here, so we've got the next space here, we're going to do what in the UK terms is a treble, in US terms is a double crochet. So in this space here we're going to do a double crochet. So pick up my yarn and pull through, yarn up 1, pull through the second 2 loops. We're not going to chain. Now the next stitches that we're going to do is going to be in the stitch rather than a space, and it's going to be in here. So I'm going to zoom in a wee bit. Let me do it with my other hand so it's easier for me. So let me just show you. So in here is our first stitch into the stitch where we're going to be putting it in. So just here. So I want to do 2 double crochets into this stitch, or in UK terms would be a treble. So yarn up into that stitch, not the space, into the stitch. And so we're going to do 1 double crochet, no chain in between, and then we're going to go into exactly the same stitch and we're going to do, whoopsie, I forgot to pick up my yarn, and we're going to do another double crochet into there. Okay, and then we have a chain space here, and that is where we're going to do our final double crochet. So into the actual space, and we're going to chain 1. Okay, so we're making a bit more of a definition at the bottom of our heart here. Let me just zoom back out again, you dudes. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to continue exactly the same as we've done on this half of our heart. We're going to continue round here. So now we're going back to our butterfly stitches into the wings. So we're going to do 7 of those again. So in each wing, we're going to do 1 butterfly stitch over the 2 wings like we've just done. And we're going to do our basic butterfly stitch again in the next 7. So we don't need to pick up our yarn this time. We just put our hook, if you remember, into the first part of our wing, pulling up our yarn, pick up our yarn and pull through the first loop. Into the second part of our wing, put our hook, pick up our yarn and pull up, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, and then chain 1 to finish the stitch. Now we're going to do that another 6 times, and then when we've done that, I'll catch up with you on the 6th stitch. Okay, so I've completed 6 already, and we're going to do 1 more, just a basic butterfly stitch into the 2 wings. So just to check that I didn't do my chain after that stitch. 40. Okay, so we're just going to finish off. So 7, I will have done 7 basic butterfly stitches over the 2 wings of each of the stitch from the previous round, and chain 1. Now what we're going to do is, if you can see, let me just show you. So it's really starting to form our heart shape now. So where we've done these extended stitches here, we've made a lovely little heart shape, and we've come down, done a little extension down here, and now we've gone all the way up here, and we need to do our 4 to match over this side. We need to do our 4 extended butterfly stitches to finish off this side of our heart. So let's do that then. I'm going to do it with you again, just so that we remind ourselves how to do it. If I can find the end, that would be helpful. Okay, so did I chain 1? Yep, I did. Okay, so pick up our yarn, and we're going to do it in a full stitch into the first part of the butterfly wing. So picking up our yarn and pull through for our extended butterfly stitch, picking up our yarn and pull through the first stitch. We're going to put our hook back into that first part of the wing, pick up our yarn and pull through, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2. So that's the first extended butterfly stitch done. I'm just going to give myself a bit more yarn here. Okay, so now we're going to go into the second part of the butterfly stitch to make our next extended butterfly stitch. So hook, pick up our yarn and hook in, pick up our yarn and pull through, 3 on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull through 1, and we're going to put our hook back into that second part, pick up our yarn and pull through, got 4 stitches on our hook, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, pick up our yarn and pull through 2, chain 1. Okay, so we've done 2 extended butterfly stitches into one into each of the previous butterfly stitch wings, and we're going to do that again. So we're going to do it into this stitch here, the 2 wings, into this one, and into this one here. So another 3 times. So I'll catch up with you when I've done it twice, and I'll hook up with you when I'm on my last extended butterfly stitch. Okay then, so we're on to our last 2 here. So 2 extended butterfly stitches, so through 1, 2, 3, and we need to chain 2. 1, 2, and what we need to do is we need to slip stitch into the middle stitch. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to show you where I want you to slip stitch into. So have a look at our work here. So we have a little stitch here, just in the middle here, and this is where we're going to slip stitch. So we'll place our stitch on our hook. I'm going to put our hook into the middle stitch, and we're just going to slip stitch into there, and we're going to pick up our yarn and pull it through, and then just pull through. Okay, so let's take a look then, see where we are now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Right, okay. Oh yeah, it's looking better, it's looking good. Alrighty, so round 4 has been completed. It's starting to take shape now, isn't it? So I quite like that. Alright then, so shall we get on with round 5? Okay then, so you should be feeling pretty good about yourself now because we're nearly finished. Right, so at the beginning of the last round, in round 4, we did a chain 2 and we've made this space here. So what we need to do now is we need to single crochet into this chain space here. So put our hook in, so pull through our yarn through, pick up our yarn and pull through. 1, hook in, yarn through, pick up our yarn and pull through. 2. Okay, now what we're going to do is in each one of these spaces here we're going to do 2 half double crochets, or half trebles in UK terms. So the way we do that is we pick up our yarn, put our hook into the space, pick up our yarn and pull through. So we have 3 stitches on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull all the way through. Easy peasy. So pick up our yarn, hook into the same space because we're going to do 2 half double crochets into each one, pick up our yarn and pull, hook the yarn through, pick up our yarn and pull through all 3 stitches. So we're going to do that until we've got 30 stitches. So we've got 2, 4, and we're going to go all the way down until we've got 30 stitches until we get to the bottom. And then I'll hook up with you when we get down to the bottom here. Okay, what I forgot to mention was that once you've finished doing your 2 half double crochets in the first 8 spaces, then you'll start coming up with the butterfly stitches with the wings again. So you need to do a half double crochet into each wing until we get down to the bottom. So let's have a look how many we've got. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 stitches. So we need to do a half double crochet. 16, 17, 18, and we need to get down to 30. So 30 will take us down to the bottom here. And so we're going to do a half double crochet into each wing, and that'll make it just right. Okay, so I'm just going to finish doing my last 2 half double crochets. So that will be into this space here. So 2, 1, 2. Okay then. Now, so what we're going to do next, we might need to zoom in for this bit, is we're going to do half double crochet or half treble in UK into this chain space here. So this space here. So 1 half double crochet in there. So that's 1. Then into this stitch here, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. Back into the same stitch. and then into this chain space here we're going to do 1 half double crochet, and then we're going to continue round all the way round, and we're going to do a further 30 half double crochets all the way around until we get to the top, and I'll catch up with you when we're nearer to the top and we'll finish off. Okay, so I've done my 30 half double crochets, and now I need to, so it's really taking shape now, isn't it? So what I need to do now is I need to do my single crochets into this chain space here. So let me just zoom in. You can see very well. Right, so we have our 2 chain space here, so pick up our yarn onto here, hook again, and we're just going to do 2 single crochets into this chain space. So we'll put our hook into the chain space, pick up our yarn and pull it through, and just a single crochet, and then put our hook back into the chain space, pick up our yarn, pull it through, and there we have it. And what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch just into this middle stitch here. So just show you. So if you have a little look, we have a little stitch just here, like a little, just here. So that's where we're going to slip stitch in. So if we just put our yarn, put our hook in, pick our yarn up, and just pull it through, make it tight. Okay. So we need to snip our yarn and pull the yarn all the way through. Get it sort of fairly tight, we'll sew that in a second. Alright, so we have almost finished. I'm going to pull that yarn through here. Nearly done. Okay then. Alright, so, God, it's so pretty. I love it. I just love this stitch. It's so gorgeous. Okay, so we have almost finished. What we're going to do now, if we have a wee look at the one I've done earlier, is we're going to now do our border, and I chose a really simple border for this. It's called the reverse single crochet stitch, or I have heard it called the crab stitch before, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we'll just embellish it with our lovely ribbon at the end. But I think you've done a very good job. I'll give yourself a pat on the back for getting this far. So now I'll show you how to attach our yarn. Okay then, so let's get on with doing the border then. So I've tied all my ends in, sewn all my ends in, and now I'm just ready to start the border. And we're going to attach our yarn into the centre of our heart, which is here, just in here. So we'll just attach our yarn to our hook. Get my yarn, attach it to the hook, pull it through. We just hold on to the tail of our yarn, slip stitch, and then chain 1, and that will secure the stitch. Okay, right, now we're going to start with our crab stitch, or our reverse single crochet. Okay, now the first stitch that we're going to go into all of these little stitches along here. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So if we have a little look at the stitches on our heart, so we have our stitches here, here, here. See the 2 parts of the stitch? This is where we're going to go into. So this is our first, this is our first stitch here. This is our second stitch, and so on. Couldn't be easier. So what we need to do is we need to have our loop on our yarn, and we need to twist our hook around so it's facing forward, and we need to be putting our hook in through the front of our stitch. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my hook off this bit here, and I want to show you the way that I'm going to do it. So I'm actually going to push my hook through the stitch and up towards the left. Okay. If you're left-handed, then you're going to be starting on the right-hand side of your heart, but I'm right-handed. So we're going to twist our hook so it's facing forward, and we're going to insert our hook through the front of our stitch, through the front of our single crochet, our half double crochet, sorry, and we're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull it through the stitch, and we'll have 2 loops on our hook, but they're twisted, and we're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull through both loops. So well, let's do that again. So we're going to twist our hook so it's facing forward. We're going to put our hook into the 2 parts of the stitch. We're going to pull our yarn through that stitch so that we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull through the 2 of those loops. Let's do it again. So we're going to twist our hook so it's facing forward. We're going to go through the front of our next stitch, pushing our hook through. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull it through that stitch. So we've got 2 stitches on the hook. 1, 2. We're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to pull it through the 2 stitches. Okay, it makes this lovely little twisted border. Now I'm going to do this again with you. So twist our yarn forward, our hook forward. We're going to put our hook through the front of our stitch. We're going to pick up our yarn again and pull it through that stitch. So we have 2 loops on the hook, pick up our yarn and pull it through the 2 loops. Let's do it again. So we're going to twist our hook round to the front. We're going to put our hook into our next stitch, pushing it forward, picking up our yarn and pulling it through our stitch. So we have 2 on the stitch, on the hook, sorry, pick up our yarn and pull through. Now this can be a bit awkward to start off with, but once you get started it's not totally difficult. It's slightly alien because we're working backwards basically. You can get faster. Okay, and we're going to go all the way around our heart doing this. So let's have a look, show you. So it gives this lovely little sort of border and definition. To pull that down a wee bit. So I'm going to zoom out a wee bit now. So I'm going to do that all the way around my heart, all the way around, and I'm going to meet you when we get up to about here, and then I'll show you how to finish off. Okay then, so I'm almost at the end. So I have 1 more stitch that I could do my reverse single crochet into, but I'm going to leave that stitch because I don't like to, it looks too bunched up if I go into there. So the the center space that we slip stitched our yarn in to begin with, we're going to finish off in the same space. So we're going to go in the same, we're going to do our crab stitch into that space. Going to pick up our yarn and pull it through, pick up our yarn and pull through, and then we're going to cut our yarn, just pull that through, pull it down nice and tight, and pull the yarn through the back like so. And then let's just, if we just have a look at our finished heart. We just need to embellish it now. I have to say, you've done very well to follow this tutorial to get this beautiful heart. So we've finished our heart off. Oops, just zoom in a wee bit. So this is our heart coaster, all finished. We've just got to put our pretty ribbon on now. Choose whatever you want. You don't need to block this, but what we could do is, and what I will be doing with mine is, I have like a damp cloth, and I just put it over, and then I'll iron over the damp cloth just to ensure that it keeps its shape. And I'll do that after I've put my bow and everything on. But well done. So this is our butterfly / angel stitch heart coaster. I'm sort of well impressed with that. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. So let's start putting our ribbon on next. That's the next thing we need to do, just to finish off, just to make it really pretty. Okay, so we need approximately 83 centimeters of ribbon, and mine is this really fine ribbon here. I'm not sure, how does that tell you how fine it is? Six millimeters by 4 meters, right, so it's 6 millimeters thick. So yes, right, so 6 millimeters wide. I think I'll just double check that actually, because that doesn't look 6 millimeters to me. Oh no, it is. So 6 millimeters, yes. So this ribbon that I've used is quite fine. It's 6 millimeters wide. We need about 85 centimeters. You could get away with probably about, did I say 85? I mean 83. You could get away with less. When I was measuring it, I did it a little bit longer. So just so that I've got a bit to play around with. Let me take it to, oh, okay, that's around about just there. Okay, take my tape measure out of the way. Okay, so this is the ribbon that I've chosen, this really pretty ribbon. I'm going to just find the middle, more or less. And this is the heart that I've already put it on. I've already used this ribbon on. So I'm going to start from the bottom of my heart here. And I'm going to sort of weave my ribbon around until we get to the top. So I just use my hook for this really. So I usually just pull my ribbon through. Let me put it through, that's it. So I usually just weave it through, in and out of the, if I show you this one it'd be easier. So basically I'm weaving it in and out of the butterfly stitches. Can you see all the way around? And I just use my hook, and I even it up so I've got an equal amount of ribbon on either side. So I'm going to start off weaving mine weaving my ribbon in and out. I always start off at the bottom, it's much easier, and then you can work out how much you need for each side. Okay, so both parts of the ribbon are equal in length, and we're going to do our bow now just to finish off our coaster. Okay then, so we've got our ribbon. I need to turn my heart upside down. I've experimented with various ways of doing the perfect bow for this, but this is the only way that I feel is the best way to do it. Anyway, so we just make a knot with our ribbon. So the way to make the V shape on here, if you have a look on this one here, you can see the little V shape there. It just stops the ribbon from fraying, and the way you do that is you just fold your ribbon in half, and if you cut diagonally upwards, and it gives you that little V shape, and I'll do the same on this side as well. So just fold it in half. That's it. Right, so there we have it. Get those out of the way. Two beautiful coasters. Well done. I love that. I love this pattern. So all you need to do now really is just to iron it with a damp cloth, and there you have it. Might adjust my ribbon a little bit more because I'm not totally satisfied with it, but never mind, that will do for now. But I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial. I've enjoyed making it, and these really are such pretty little coasters. So here we are, two little pretty coasters ready for Valentine's Day or your sweetheart or a wedding. Thank you for watching Craig Loves to Crochet. I do hope that you join me on my Facebook page, www.craiglovestocrochet.com. Thank you for watching, and toodle pip for now.